麦わらの一味だね。
おう、そうな。
うちどもがやりたい。
言葉遣い、ウェイ。
話なのに。ルブチ。
ルバがつまりじゃないな。
ハラルド王は言った。僕との交易を進めていった。
いいです。よっぴったりです。
ありがとう、エルフ。
なんで俺たちさんってんだ？
私人間ちゃんの振るのが趣味で。ビビった
違う。メロバカ。イケメンよ。勝負だ。悪ガキ長と未来の戦士たち。
Luffy, you have been chased by
ダメよ。じゃあかけた。ごめん。
お前たちも伊勢で荒くれんだろ。あ、どうした？
and
戦わないよ。
エルマンだろお前ら。
って言わないでよ。それに私たちは出してない。
なんで？
やらないのさ。
what the hell? So now Usopp is being told like, hey, you know what? giants. So yeah.
今の子供だそんなのやらねえと意味だ待ってそこプリン先生の
Some scenes are really crazy, but they're fun too because as you can see, here one of the characters who is like crashing out. We have giants, so now we have giantess. And the funny part is, you know, One Piece is an anime, but there are some scenes which are really crazy. I don't think that some scene we have to show it to you guys, especially in this YouTube channel, because we don't want the video to not get any age restriction. Because as you can see here, one of the characters is actually maybe like Luffy just landed to one of the giantess boobs. So I don't think if that clip we should show it, because if we show it, I absolutely know we are going to get age restriction, because as you can see, this actually like sexualize the scene. So I don't know, you guys, tell me in the comments.
すいません。
いいよ大事
先生なら教えてくれ。どうして聖書ないんだ。
ショック受けてんの暴力戦争
I knew it. Now they're saying
ナイスあんたがリワラの一味だね
おう、よしな。
うちどもがいる
言葉遣い、ウェイ
now the Straw Hats are actually being treated like a guinea pig, because as you can see, different giantess characters, especially who are in Alphaba, they tend to see Luffy and Usopp as like really unique people because they're tiny in size. So they tend to actually try to tease them because of their height, which is actually crazy. And now we have this aspect of like a concept like, hey, you know what? Nowadays in Alphaba, there's no warriors. So now you guys, you are pirates, but you're not actually normal pirates. You're like a tiny pirates. And they're funny. That's why you can see most of the giantess characters in this clip, they tend to laugh at Usopp and Luffy because the way they're acting like, oh, Alphaba was supposed to have like these giant people who are actually warriors. So why you just sit there and eating and drinking and having a feast without even thinking about the outside world that is actually happening? That's actually cool. But it's funny part though.
ハラルド王は言った僕との交易を進めていったのさ
ハラルド王
ハラルド王は半ばで5人にしてしまった。
So
この許さず、王はいないんです。はーい。みんな、案内してあげる。はいはい、わかったから。はい。
Okay. I like the concept of giants in alphabet tends to have like this really good housing, and the housing, especially the houses, are like being built in trees. That's actually really unique, and you can see now Luffy is actually interacting with these giant characters. I don't know the name of the character because, as you can see, I'm actually new to One Piece anime because there's a lot of episodes, so I can't be able to watch all the episodes by myself. Or maybe even in my free time, I can't even have the free time to watch all the episodes because, as you can see, One Piece anime has almost like 1,000 of episodes. So how can you cover all that episodes in just 1 month or 2 months? And you have to cover that, and then you have to make a video about Giantess characters. So as you can see now, that's how like so hard in terms of like covering stuff. So yeah. Okay, so now the Straw Hat crew decided to come to Luffy, and now we have this interaction, or maybe interaction between Giant and Giantess character, because as you can see we have Ripley, who's actually a Giantess character, but Ripley is like a teacher who actually teach these kids, but according to the Straw Hat point of view, they tend to look like giant kids, which is actually crazy. So to me, I like this interaction because we have Sanji, we have Nami, we have like Usopp, we have Zoro. It's actually cool. If it was me, I actually like this like episode or clip.
父親が人間だと？エルバフの負けねえんだ。
下の夫なんだけどね。年を取るって。 うしてくれないんだ。と内縁の妻。
まだそいつは
腹減ってきた。先行ってるぞ。待って。
なんだわけです。
Okay, now Luffy's angry, he's hungry, and I think it's a perfect time. And who is this character who has like this, like, weird hands? Because his hands are actually like big. I don't know. I actually don't know. And he has this small hat, and he's wearing this underwear, which is actually insane. But I don't know. To people who are watching this video and know this character, you can write the name of this character. This character. I want to know.
お願いだ。
では参ります。いや、ぴったりです。
I like the concept. So you may okay, I get it now. Okay, so the Giantess character was able to make these like tiny human clothes. Okay, that's actually cool. Maybe you had like this, like you have like the different Barbies, and now you're trying to make clothes, and now you've been introduced with these tiny characters who are actually like part of like Straw Hat crew, and now you have those tiny clothes. It's actually cool. And what is weird is, especially the Zoro character is actually cool, but I was expecting to see like Zoro as a Jack character, because you can see in the live action Zoro was like jacked. In other episodes of like One Piece anime, we have like Zoro as jacked character, so it's weird to see Zoro here like look so normal.
私人間ちゃんの振るのが趣味で。変態野郎と同じって。違う。僕を作るまで。ゲルズちゃんの岸穴まりも。
Okay, I get it. Zoro and Sanji are fighting because of the Giantess character, and I bet Sanji is actually loving staying in Alphabet because we have Giantess characters, and I bet he is actually mesmerized with these characters, and I bet he's going to actually try to seduce one of the characters. I don't know, but I know Sanji. Sanji is a womanizer who's actually willing to raise a lot of Giantess characters, especially who are in this nation. So that's actually wild. So I'm expecting to see Sanji raising a lot of like Giantess characters in Alphabet, but I don't know. I'm just saying because you can see Sanji is actually like a loose cannon. So at any moment he's gonna blow up.
ごめん。行きましょう。
はるかにイーストブルーから戦士たちの国に。
Damn, that food was so crazy. Like, just imagine the Straw Hat. I bet if it was me, if I was Luffy, and I'm in Elphaba or Western Village, and then I'm being welcomed with this great feast, like a plate with steak that is so juicy and so tender and tasty. And the fun part is, the food will be big, because as you can see, this is a land of giants, and just thinking about that steak, being able to eat that steak is nuts. Maybe I'm saying this because I'm hungry right now, but seeing that food and knowing Luffy, who loves food, that tends to make me really happy. Just imagine you have this gigantic piece of steak which is actually smelling so delicious. What you gonna do? You're gonna eat it, and if you can't even finish it, put it in your pockets. Okay, I'm acting like a psycho right now, which is actually crazy, but that scene was actually amazing. Okay, I told you, this is actually a fantasy of Sanji. Sanji being having interaction with these giantess characters. I bet he's going to raise them. He's going to use all his time to just raise one of the giantess characters, which is actually crazy. But even if you raise them and they tend to decide to be with you, in the relationship going to work? Because I don't know. This is nuts. It is nuts because just the common sense on a normal character, like a tiny character, being able to have relations with giantess characters, that is actually doesn't work. And we got that idea from Attack of the 50th Woman, the movie which was released in 1993, where Mrs. Archer wanted to have sex with her husband who's actually tiny. It didn't work. Because the husband told her hey, you want me to wear a raincoat and take a torch? That was insane. I saw Luffy was eating that piece of sausage or something. I don't know what is it, but that is actually crazy. That was crazy and insane. Guys, tell me in the comments what do you think. What do you think about One Piece? And are you able to live in Elphaba as a tiny person? And then are you willing to eat a gigantic piece of steak that you'll be introduced in Elphaba? Are you able to eat that? Because to me, I'll be eating that. I'll make sure I'll be eating until I can't even eat anymore. Tell me in the comments. Maybe because I'm saying this because I'm hungry, but you can tell me in the comments what you think.